So let's take a look how we connect with our Opinion computer or our Raspberry Pi. So we'll see how Pixhawk talks with Raspberry Pi. Now, to be able to do that, first you need to come to this config section. And over here, you will see full parameter list. In the search section, we are going to search serial 1. And serial 1 here, these two parameters we have to set. Now, a lot of you might have over here different value. Okay. So in general, you want to set it to 9 to 1. That's enough. And then if this is not 2, you need to set it to 2. By default, it should be 1. But if it is 1, then change it to 2. And if it is 2, keep it as 2. Okay. All right. So you have to do that. And after that, you have to write params. Okay. You're right. So once you do that, in general, you have to disconnect and restart. But as you do that, disconnect and restart, make sure if you have battery connected with your drone or Raspberry Pi, you also disconnect that one. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this. And then I'm going to go ahead and unplug the battery as well as all the connections. Okay, so now I'm going to power on, and then we are also going to connect to our Pixhawk. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to switch on the safety switch. Okay, right. Okay, all right. So once that is done over here, you can go ahead and connect. Before connecting, make sure that you have the right COM. And then you also have this one. Okay, right. Now you can come to the config, and over here you can search for serial. Serial. Okay, so this setup is correct. So once this setup is correct, we should be able to connect with our Raspberry Pi and Pixhawk. That means they'll be able to talk. Now, to do that, we need to go and see the next part. Okay, in this part, we're gonna see how we can connect with our Raspberry Pi and then talk with the drone. Drone means, in our case, Pixhawk, because once you connect with Pixhawk for your Raspberry Pi, and you can do the communication in both ways, that means you're able to control the drone, okay? Control it better. Now, one thing, once you switch on the battery, you'll see over here, if you're on Windows, so go and find that. So something called robotics that shows up, okay? Now, once you have this one, you have to connect it. Now, the password is given. So you can see the password in the text section, okay? So you type in the password, and in general, you go ahead and connect, and you'd be connected. All right, so the connection could be slow at first, okay, but it will get connected. So now it's connected. I want browser and type in this one, okay? So here we'll see that we have this IP address and the port. Then here we have this serial device. Now our Pixhawk is connected as a serial device with our Raspberry Pi. And here we're going to choose our baud rate, this one. And we are going to use Mavlink and 2.0 version. Okay, all right. So once you have this one, so you can just simply start a telemetry. And as you see, that it's already connected and it's receiving data, and it's also recognized that there's a quadcopter and firmware is APM. And then over here, we already see the logs. So that means that our Pixhawk and our Raspberry Pi, they're already able to communicate. Just remember, this thing is only possible, this UI, if your Raspberry Pi is well set up and everything, all the software and code is installed in Raspberry Pi. Otherwise, you won't see any communication. Not only that, we'll be able to reboot our flight controller, which means our Pixhawk, from this UI. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. All right. So as you see that you are hearing the sound, okay, it's trying to reboot. All right. And it already did that. Now I can switch on the safety switch. Okay. So give it a few times and it should be able to back. Now the sound is gone. And as you can see that a lot of the parameters and conditions are recognized and printed over here. So that tells us that our Raspberry Pi and our Pixhawk is well connected. And of course, throttle below failsafe because my RC or my remote control is not connected. All right, so my remote control is connected. And as you can see that, all right, no more messages. Now what I could do, I can arm the vehicle. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. All right. All right, so I can disarm the vehicle. All right. Now, of course, we didn't see much further log. Now, this is the time we go ahead and check our terminal. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's do clear. On Windows, you might not have clear. It doesn't matter. Now, since we are connected over here, so our static IP address is giving on or being shared as a hotspot, so which means that we can access it. Now over here, we're gonna do SSH, and here we're gonna do robotics at, okay, and then we're gonna type in our password. The password you can find from the text section. All right, so we'll be able to go ahead and log in. So we are already inside our Raspberry Pi. Now, of course, for us, it doesn't make a big deal because it's just a system. But over here, we have an example, so we can go inside this. And the example is connect to this one. So we're gonna try to go ahead and run it before we further go and see. Okay, Python 2, and then here we'll have connect. Let's go ahead and run this. Now, first time when you run, the communication could be slow. So because our drone kit is trying to able to establish a connection with our Pixhawk, and it may take a bit of time. But once the connection is done, we'll see that it prints messages. And as you see that, it already print messages, okay? So that means that our Raspberry Pi is well connected with our Pixhawk. And now, not only over here, we can get all this information, we can also get all this information over here as well, okay? So this is awesome. So that means that we are able to establish connection between Raspberry Pi and Pixhawk, right? Now, once this is done, I can switch on the RC. All right, I can arm the vehicle. All right, so I can run it, and I can run the vehicle as long as it prints, and we'll see that the status would be different because this time the mode would be armed, okay? Okay, right, as you see that mode stabilized and armed true, but before it was different, okay? All right, now what are we gonna do? We're gonna disarm, and then we're gonna run again. So if we run this thing, then we'll see that over here, this will say that the mode is stabilized, but the vehicle is not armed. So let's go ahead and wait for the information to be printed. Okay, right. So that means that we are getting a lot of information from our Pixhawk, and this is awesome.